how good could Derek Carr make the New York Jets? Because I was talking to a Jets fan at my school a couple of days ago, and he was saying, man, even if we don't get Aaron Rodgers, man, we get Derek Carr, and we are immediately a contender in the AFC. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you trying to tell me that getting Derek Carr makes the Jets a Super Bowl contender? And he said, hell yeah, it is. And I said, okay. All right, I think you may be just a little bit biased, but I will agree that Derek Carr makes the Jets better. Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback. Now, last season in Las Vegas, I'm going to be honest, it was bad, okay? But it wasn't all because of him. Josh McDaniels isn't a great head coach. He did have a good amount of talent around him, but I just think that him and Josh McDaniels simply weren't a good fit. They were a toxic couple, and that's why it ultimately ended the way that it did. Derek Carr has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL since he first got drafted to the Raiders. And the dude hasn't really had a great defense. He's never had a great defense. The dude kind of has suffered from lackluster offensive line play. He hasn't really received decent offensive line play until recently. So for Derek Carr, he's going to the New York Jets that already have a pretty good amount of talent to work with on offense. The offensive line, it needs a little bit more improvement, but we do have some good pieces here. You have Elijah Vera-Tucker, Mekhi Becton. At wide receiver, you got Garrett Wilson. Dude's a stud. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got Breece Hall, who also was in that conversation prior to having his season cut short. You got Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. There is a lot of talent for Derek Carr to work with in the New York Jets. The New York Jets, many people feel they were a quarterback away from making it into the playoffs this past season. They went 7-10 with who? Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White. I mean, for the New York Jets, Derek Carr probably would be the best quarterback that they've had since probably who? Ryan Fitzpatrick that one season when he was serviceable with Todd Bowles. That was probably about it. That's probably the best quarterback play that the New York Jets have had in recent memory. I can't remember the last time the New York Jets have even had a Derek Carr level quarterback underneath center. Derek Carr, is he the best quarterback in the league? No, he's not, but he's definitely not the worst. I promise you can do a lot worse than Derek Carr. Shoot, with what you had last year was worse than Derek Carr. You mean to tell me that Derek Carr isn't an upgrade from Zach Wilson? I mean, come on. Joe Flacco? Mike White? Be honest. Derek Carr is a better quarterback than anything that the New York Jets have had in maybe a decade. Shoot, this is the same team that went to back-to-back conference championships with Mark Sanchez. So you mean to tell me that Derek Carr couldn't make the Jets at least a playoff team? I think he does. Now, does he make them Super Bowl contenders? I think that's pushing it a little bit too much. Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback, but the thing with Derek Carr is that he's not good enough to push you over the hump in big games. Oftentimes in big games, Derek Carr crumbles. Good example, that Pittsburgh Steelers game. This past year, what was it, on Christmas? Dude melted. Dude folded like a wet napkin. I love Derek Carr, but in big moments, oftentimes he comes up a little bit small. I think with the New York Jets, he will have success. He'll be good enough to get them to the playoffs because they wouldn't be overly relying on him. They have a good offensive-minded coordinator in Nathaniel Hackett who specializes in running the football. Now, although Nathaniel Hackett isn't a great play caller, this dude is really good when it comes to getting the most out of the run game. And for Derek Carr, if you are asking him to throw the ball 25, 30 times a game, I think that's okay. But if you're asking Derek Carr to carry you to wins every single week, that's not going to happen. And when you get into the playoffs, you need elite level quarterback play, or you need good quarterback play in big moments. And that's something that you haven't really seen out of Derek Carr. But with the New York Jets, though, I think with the supporting cast that they're going to have around them and the kind of style of offense that Nathaniel Hackett and Robert Saleh want to run and implement, I don't think that Derek Carr is going to be asked to do as much as what he was during his time with the Raiders. He pretty much had to carry the Raiders. He had to make sure that he was able to produce enough points that they were able to outscore pretty much everybody they played because their defense didn't get too many stops. So if the New York Jets, you're pretty much asking Derek Carr just to be somewhat of a really good distributor or a really good game manager. The New York Jets are a team that's going to win games based on how well they can run the football and how well their defense plays. All you're asking Derek Carr to do is to make sure that you don't give the football up and you don't melt away games like Zach Wilson did. Derek Carr, the thing with Derek Carr is just that in big games, the dude kind of melts. But in terms of looking for stability at the quarterback position, looking for a guy who can get you to 8-9 wins and potentially get you into the postseason next year, I think he's your guy. If you're a Jets fan, if you can't get Aaron Rodgers, I think that Derek Carr is the next best thing. Yeah, he has his limitations. He may not be able to make you a Super Bowl contender, but you can at least get to the playoffs. And hell, if you get to the playoffs with how good your defense is and how good your run game is, you could potentially go on a run similar to what the 49ers did when they had Jimmy Garoppolo. And they weren't asking Jimmy Garoppolo to do all that much because their defense was playing outstanding and the run game was there. So Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do as much. And Derek Carr, I think he's hell of a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So with the New York Jets, I think Derek Carr will make this a playoff team in a division that has some uncertainty when it comes to the New England Patriots and how good they're going to be long-term on offense. They brought in Bill O'Brien, but you don't really know about New England. You look at the Miami Dolphins, Tua's health is a little bit concerning. You can't trust him to stay healthy on a week-to-week basis. The Buffalo Bills, I feel like they had some of their toughest games this past season against the New York Jets. So for Derek Carr, him going to the Jets would be a really good fit. I don't think he'll make them a Super Bowl contender, but I do think the Jets would be a really good team, at least a playoff team, with Derek Carr under the helm at center.